Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. SoundCartel. From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Opportunities abound if you keep your eyes open. Belinda Eden saw busloads of tourists from Melbourne heading to her hometown of Ballarat for events. She noticed too that the hospitality staff catering for those events were also coming in from Melbourne. But why not use local staff, she thought. And that's when the penny dropped and Belinda started her own company, Troop Events, a local regional business providing hospitality and event staff. Since COVID restrictions were lifted, demand for Troop has taken off. She tells Chris Ashmore that this kind of business works well in the regions, where word of mouth is a huge advantage.
Hospitality is very strong in the word of mouth, and it's always about recommendations mostly. And the industry before COVID was always struggling to find added people and working around people who were studying, things like that. And so the whole landscape has changed specifically now as well.
Are there particular advantages, do you see, of having an events or hospitality business in the regions versus in the city?
Look, I suppose there is, because one of our core values is about employing local to keep money local and keeping the jobs local. So there's always going to be an advantage about being able to have the opportunity for people to stay in their small regional towns rather than having to not have work or not have opportunities to then have to go elsewhere. Because there's a lot of small towns that, you know, they only have a few thousand people that live in there. And as soon as the kids grow up or they're off to uni or just wanting to stay in the town, there's not as much opportunity. So this is a good way to sort of have that flexibility around the space, because we're quite a nomadic and lifestyle agency as well when it comes to the employment side.
Mm. How do you find staff?
There's a variety of different ways that we do. We're actually very lucky because ours is also a lot of word of mouth. But, you know, your normal channels of social media and online. We do campaigns depending on what we're needing to recruit for. So we've had events where we needed to have over 100 staff. So, of course, we put a bit of time and effort into finding people like that. But, again, a lot of it is on word of mouth because of the culture that we have and just the fun that we have as well. The team are always talking about us and what we do when they're at their other events or at their other jobs as well, about, you know, the flexibility that we give.
At risk of labouring the point, there really is kind of a bush telegraph in the country, isn't there? So
yes.
Word gets around.
Yeah, it does. It does. And the reputation that the staff have helped uphold as well for the business, you know, there's such a variety of experience out there, and the change of what people are expecting from employment as well is different. And just being a business that sees each person individually helps create sort of value within themselves. So they do step up a bit more. And I would know probably about 80% of my staff first names and their faces together. So that's pretty big. Like, I can't even remember my own children's names sometimes. But yeah, going to an event, especially when there's such a large scale sometimes, and working across multiple bars as an example, to be able to go up and just see that person and say their name and check in on them and make sure that they're good or they've had a break or had a drink of water or something like that, just creates that extra value that we like to look after our staff.
Mm. Now, you started just before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You would have been hit for 6. How did you handle that time?
Oh, look, we're actually coming up to our 4th birthday in February. And pre-COVID, I did an incubator program. So we graduated in October 2019. And then, we know about March 2020. So I'd only just started getting out there. We'd even sort of refinanced the house to put some money into the business to really start launching it up. And COVID came, completely shut us down literally overnight.
And what did you do? You held your breath until things opened up?
There was a lot of upset moments, but I still continued because there were certain things like licensing and stuff that if I gave up or didn't renew, then it would be very difficult to renew them again. But I also just adjusted about what I needed as well and to sort of see the landscape. And it's hard to know because it was such an unknown space. But when Melbourne Cup in 2021, that was sort of the moment where COVID was still around, but things were going back to normal.
Right.
And so it was the moment that a lot of the industry was watching really closely to go, how did they do it? What do we need to do? And can we do it as well? And then it was literally within moments of that day, overnight, there was festivals reopening, there was artists being booked, there was staff getting jobs and everything started to be reactivated.
Mazars is an international audit, tax and advisory firm committed to helping clients confidently build and grow their businesses. Move forward with Mazars. Visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.
Can you tell me about some of the events that you've been involved with? I understand what was the Grand Prix?
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. So we have worked with the Atlantic Group now over a year, and they opened a business here in Ballarat. And they just said, hey, do you have any staff that might be interested in working the Grand Prix? And I could not believe my ears because I was on the phone and I was so emotional in the fact that it was such an opportunity. Like, here I am only months out of relaunching again and being given the opportunity to work at the Grand Prix. It was just phenomenal. And ever since then, like, we've worked alongside a lot of other agencies and other businesses and events and festivals, and we work with councils, and we've worked a number of music festivals. We've worked in Geelong, Melbourne, Ballarat. We worked at the Melbourne Cup as well. Football, there's just, it's been endless and it's fantastic.
Wonderful. Aside from COVID, any challenges you've faced?
Being an agency within regional Victoria is a completely new concept because it always has been word of mouth. It's always like, hey, Chris, have you got someone that can come and help us out for a few hours? Where if it's in Melbourne, to use an agency is just common knowledge. There's more than a dozen that are in Melbourne. And I suppose, so mine is about educating the community that we're actually here to help, and we're here to help them to continue with their own business, especially when they're struggling. And you see posts quite common about, sorry, the bistro's closed because we don't have any kitchen staff, or we've got to shorten our hours today because we don't have enough staff. Well, I want to give them the opportunity to go, well, I've got staff, use them. Yep. We all want to be working. So that's probably, it's just trying to educate people is probably one of the challenges.
Is there anything that you would do differently today than what you did when you first started?
I'd probably say no, not really, because it's an ever-evolving space and I've had to change a lot, even when business restarted again, where I was to what I'm doing now. Each event I learn something different. I change, I adapt, I critique, and every event I get better at it.
Well, you've been very successful in these last 4 years, Belinda. What's the future look for Troop?
Well, that's the big exciting part because for me, I am a very big thinker when it comes to the opportunities of what I can do to help people with regarding employment and all that sort of stuff. So for me, the main thing is about reaching mostly Victoria, if anything Australia, where you can have a real nomadic lifestyle and being able to just go into a town, start working there, whether it's a couple of hours, couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, and, take your family on the road and things like that. We've also wanting to put together some training programs, which we're currently talking with people at the moment about the entry-level basic hospitality knowledge. That is a little bit of a gap there at the moment because there's people that were in senior positions who have now left hospitality and all the juniors have come through into management, and so there's a little bit of a gap. And so just trying to teach those very basic things. So we're putting together a training program for that. And then, the big idea would be, it'd be amazing if we could get something in the Commonwealth Games and helping all the regional towns again, just help with their local community and their people with employment and hospitality, and get those amazing coffees out, and the service and everything like that. So yeah.
So quite optimistic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, big ideas. And if not, then it's the world, and then it's be able to travel. Like my big idea is, you're traveling around the Amalfi Coast and you happen to come across a little sticker on the window of a cafe that's got trip events or something like that. And to be able to go, oh, cool, awesome, I'll be able to stay here and see what works around this area and be able to just travel the world. That would be amazing.
That was Belinda Eden, founder of Troop Events. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.